Festival
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
weekend, I believe. Yes, I'm heading out there tomorrow night.
Oh.
Matriarch on Sunday. Looking forward to that. 10% exacta bonus if you play over at Del Mar. Opt in at NairaBets.com today. And finally, America's Day at the races will be on FS1 from 12 to 3, and then FS2 3 to 4:30. So be sure to tune in. We got the whole team over there as well. All right, we'll dive into it. No more turf racing, which is kind of sad.
I know. I mean,
It
we could.
feels a little bit weird looking through the daily racing form, and there's no green, for the turf racing
Yeah.
there. But anyway, we will talk about all of these dirt races, starting off with the opener, 6 furlongs on the main track, starter allowance. And Paul, we've got a couple of replays here. Let's start with Forgiving Spirit because this horse, I know. Won last time out and is 8 to 5 on the morning line. A horse that just kept grinding to get up to win first off the reclaim, I should say, for Rudy Rodriguez.
Kind of wonder if like last time might have been the time because he got the contested pace that he really needed, and he got like that super sweet trip and that really sweet ride too from Manny Franco, and it was just enough at the end of the day to grind on by and push on by. So I wonder today if the setup's going to be the same for him. I'm not sure it's going to be. So I kind of question that, and the cutback to 6 furlongs too may not help him, especially if somebody shakes loose in here like the horse I have on top. So, but I thought maybe last time was the time for him. I mean, I have the horse second in here. He can certainly win, but I was just hoping, I don't know, at the end of the day that I was going to get a horse to shake loose in here and just sail on by.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. The thing with Forgiving Spirit, at least, is that he was forward 2 starts back and he actually broke sharp last time out, and then it seemed like everybody sent and he took back. And I agree with you. I don't think that's going to be the case today. The horse you have on top, Gatsby, looks like the controlling pace in here, but I don't think Forgiving Spirit is going to be off of it. I think Manny Franco, who was aboard last time, made the decision based off of how the pace played out, and I don't see that taking place today.
It's possible. It's possible. And when you look at these horses, the both of them, they've kind of run the same figures in that relative range the last couple of starts. So I guess it's kind of like pick your poison, like who do you want? And I figured Gatsby was at least drawn outside in this spot, so be able to see what's going on. But one direction for him, although 2 starts back, he didn't run that badly. He missed by, it was a long time between wins, for Gatsby in that spot. But, no one else went, and he was able to control in that spot. Looms Boldly thought was going to go, didn't go in that spot last time out. And he was able to get in front and be comfortable in control and was able to kick away in that spot. Now kind of gets into this starter allowance condition. But it's not like he's run bad prior to that start. And I kind of was just looking around at this race, and I just thought maybe he could do it again.
He ran a big figure. He was able to control, I thought, with a pretty moderate pace. But like you talked about, there's not a ton of pace signed on in here, and he was able to pull away. But yeah, he's not really a winning type. I guess the argument for him could be that he was just facing much better prior to that with previous connections. I prefer Power Seeker. Let's take a look at his last win. I know this was going a mile for him, but I don't mind him sprinting. He's actually a horse that's quite sharp prior to his races, so I think that should be fine. And even though, again, this was going longer, he is a horse that does have at least a little bit of positional speed, and I thought he was finishing best last time out when he did get a good trip in winning that day, but kind of the other Rudy Rodriguez in here, and he has really fast races on the go back, both sprinting and going long, and I thought he'd be a little bit of a better price.
Yeah, if he can get back to one of those races for sure. It's just last time out he beat Brewpub, who doesn't like to win, but even with that perfect setup, he still ran well. I'm not going to say that he didn't run well, and it was a drop down for Linda, who successfully, always seems to do well and find those horses and they get to the winner's circle for her. So goes first off the claim in here, and I don't think this horse ran that badly in that spot. I just kind of question whether or not this horse is going to get back to that sprinting today. We'll see.
Race 2, a mile and an eighth, $30,000 non-winners of 2 in life. And this is a tough race because there is no speed in here. And we'll start with Adventurous, who you have. We both have second anyway. This horse ran a huge race last time out, but he lost contact completely with the field and has absolutely no speed.
And we see this happen, with him a few times where he just takes himself out of races. And at least he closed into the pace last time to just miss, and he got that pace in front of him. It's funny because when you look at when he broke his maiden 2 starts back, you said to yourself, okay, against that field, as long as he stood within relative contact with that field, he was going to be fine, and he was going to blow them away. And he wasn't that far off, and he ran them off their feet in there, which he was supposed to do. So last time out watching him run, too, I did the same thing earlier. I was like, oh, my God. I'm like, he's just doing it again. He's so far back, but the pace was fast enough. He closed into it. I don't – and I said it because I think I was either on talking horses for his last race or the race before that. I was like, I think no, it had to be his last race because I said I think Linda actually lucked out and is actually going to end up with a decent horse at this spot. And then he kind of just took himself out and did it again. We'll see what he does today because if he does it again today, I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him. But with the lack of pace in here, he might just actually be closer by default.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
Completely lost contact
Yeah.
last time, but yeah, we will see. He is convincing at least with going the distance, which is a question I have about Egyptian, who you have on top. But is it a little bit more of a pace play with him?
I think that, last time out, you look at his race, he broke sharp and he kind of just grinded a win off of sitting off of Good Cop. And I think he could just grind and get the distance in here. I would think looking at it now, he might be in front of this field. We'll see what Toga Dan or Always Be Smart does from the inside. But I'm just hoping that it's the right spot first time against winners for him. And if Adventurous takes himself out of the race and he can get comfortable up front and just start clipping off quarters in 24, this horse might be able to just grind out going the mile and an eighth in this spot.
Yeah, we'll see. I do think tactically, because he's forward, that should help him. I feel like Toga Dan is a slightly better horse, and he is taking a drop in class, but he's obviously not trustworthy either. He was very disappointing last time, but it was against New York bred Allowance Company, and I thought King's Leap was just a far better horse, and he had come in. He was that horse that had come in with all those wins at Finger Lakes, and because of the conditions, he was still eligible for New York bred 1X. But so anyway, I thought that he ran well. At least 2 back and even 3 back, not terribly behind Iron Dome. And he does have a win at the distance. He's not completely pace compromised. And for me, the drop in class was the most appealing.
Yeah, his Figs play, and really, if you want to go by the last race, and the one thing you could say is they ran 1-2 around the track.
Yeah,
so really,
they did.
he really didn't have much of a shot there. He kind of backed up anyway, but the drop should help him in this spot, I would think. We'll see how close he is. I mean, he may wind up being right off of Egyptian in this race because when you look at it, I don't think Always Be Smart's going to go, but Ricardo Santana's been aggressive, and if this horse breaks well, and gets to cut the corner inside, I don't predict that we're going to see any kind of epic pace in here. We should do over-unders on how fast this mile and
Always
eighth
Be
is
Smart
gonna
has
go.
no early speed.
no early speed whatsoever. So I would think Egyptian and Toga Dan are the two horses you're going to look at in this spot to be up close anyway early.
See how it plays out. Race at 3, $16,000 claiming race, 6.5 furlongs for the fillies and mares. And this is a race we have the same couple of horses. Once again, I think the pace a little bit of a conversation. Jackie the Joker, they've kind of figured out recently that she needs to be ridden aggressively and at least be forward, which seems to be her best running style. Just she hasn't really been able to seal the deal lately.
I think the drop in class is going to help her because her better races have come when she's run for 15 and 12.5 and she's been able to get out there and just run loose and kind of establish and not fight her, just let her go. So I'm hoping that today she will do that and get in front of this group. We'll see what happens with a couple of other horses in here. But for me, it was strictly that I thought the drop was going to help her because her better races have been against lower levels.
I went back to Echo and Eternity. I know she might have been a little bit of a last time was the time type of horse when she was a very short price and she was very much the horse to be, and that was for Linda Rice. But she's a reclaim for Bruce Levine, who did very well with her. And he steps her up in class down to the 16. He lost her for 25. She won for Linda for 10. He dips back in, like I said. She at least is tactical. I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for her. And I know that she won against Leicester, but she won nicely last time out, too.
It was the perfect storm for her, too, Acacia, because if you go back and you look at her races, 3 back, she kind of got a bad ride from being on the pace, and then 2 back, you wanted to be more inside, and she ended up kind of being outside, so it was like the perfect storm, right? She got the drop in class. She was able to get the trip in there, and Linda just delivers with these horses, as we said in the last race as well. They usually run well for her. So, and off the reclaim, Bruce, as you said, did well for her, and she ran figures that were in the upper 60s in this spot. So if you think you're going to get that again out of her, that certainly makes her a contender with the way some of these horses go up and down at this level with their figures and their form.
Totally. And on that note, what do you do with a horse like First Lady Rosalind? You don't like her at all. I included her, I think, in large part respect for the connections, but it is fair to say that she's never been able to run back to those fast figures that she did with Brittany Russell, but at least she's a new face in here.
Yeah, she's a fresh face in here. She gets a drop down. Last time, though, she was just bad. But I don't know if it's just that she just didn't care for the really off-going that she had. I know she had won over that.
It was very wet.
Yeah, and I don't know if she just didn't care for it.
She never looked comfortable.
Yeah,
she was
just kind of like,
like
stepping and climbing and stuff. So I was not thrilled with that race, but they drop her and they bring her here. So at least she's a new face to look at. For me, I thought latest edition, even though latest edition's run on the turf was kind of a new face to look at because, she's got a couple of races when you go back to November of last year when she ran for 10. She ran a 66, which may actually be good enough, and she ran it for 10, but at least she's run against lower levels. After that, they jacked her right back up in price again, and she didn't have much of a shot, against some of those horses in here. So I thought maybe she was kind of a price to look at in the tries, but for me, it was 4s and 2s.
Yeah.
This spot, just hoping for the best.
I agree. Raise at 4, 50,000, non-winners of 2 for the fillies and mares. Let's start with Chocolate Chocolate. You have her on top, and we have a replay of her. This is what 2 back when she won for Amelia Green. It took her a while to get this win, Paul, after being short prices and knocking at the door.
Yeah, she found a way to get it done, and she was able to kind of open up in that inch clear again late in the stretch. And last time out, first time against winners, I picked her then, too, that day. And I thought she battled pretty well, though, considering that she was ridden from off the pace all the time. And this time out, she went up and attacked that pace last time, being a little bit wide. And Helen's Revenge was a Linda Haas anyway at that time. Oh, I just got Boston there. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw that little Haas.
Yeah, where did that come from? I don't know where that came from. Alrighty then. So, but for me today, I know it's up in class again today, but I just thought, looking at this race, that she maybe will be able to sit off. I don't know. Maybe she won't be on the lead in here. Maybe she'll get a little sit off of maybe Big Air if they decide on the drop that Big Air is going to show a little bit of speed in this spot. Maybe even the horse on the rail circuit court as well that you picked on top. But for me, I'm a Chocolate Chocolate fan. So I was going to go back to her anyway. And I thought last time out she did run well considering she's not normally on the pace in that spot.
Yeah, I just don't trust her. And she certainly could win. She goes out for Linda. She's second off the claim. She just has not run anything kind of close to that 70 buyer speed figure. And she seems like she was the type of horse that just, she got the right kind of group that day. I know Sheer Will came back to win again, but it will be interesting to see how the pace plays out. I did think Circuit Court was intriguing. I know you didn't have this horse anywhere, but I thought the drop in class was really big for this filly who tried going long last time too. I prefer her shorter. She's very energetic. She did win sprinting for 35,000. I just feel like this is the right kind of spot. The last couple of races she's been in have been much tougher. Even in Saratoga, I mean, Hey Cookie was a very short price that day. She had to face Purloin, who was a Linda horse last time, and she was pressing the pace that day and just not able to keep up. So I thought the drop in class plus the cutback in distance made her very interesting in here.
Yeah, I just want to see her repeat it. I know it was against Better, so it is a drop today. That she's been beaten in her last 2. It's just that she got such a good trip when she broke her maiden. She got to sit right off of Darty Time in there, and I just kind of feel like I want to see it again. Now, listen, she might be forward in here, especially even with the cutback. We'll see how the break plays out for her and how Manny decides to ride her from the inside. If she gets out front, she might be a little bit dangerous. This spot, she's a threat to wire this field if she gets out front.
We both have the 2 Big Air in there. She's at least dropping in class. She's kind of a similar one, broke her maiden for 30,000, but at Colonial with that big figure, and she's kind of been one that's right there recently. But for a Jamie Nass horse, and especially in those allowance races, she's not really done anything overly inspiring, but you kind of feel like with the drop you have to include her.
Yeah, and especially last time too, because she kind of pressed that quicker pace last time too, and they were kind of moving up front too, and she kind of backed up. I'm not sure that she wanted to be ridden that way, I guess you could say, especially in a sprint. I'm thinking as a sprinter, she's probably more of what she was 3 back at Parks, where she's going to sit maybe a few lengths off and make that run. But, we'll see how the break plays today and what Jamie Rodriguez does with her.
Let's go to the 7 Perugia. I know you have a replay here. This is when she won her lone dirt start, which was an off-the-turf race. She's just one of those horses. She just breaks slowly. She just, no matter what rider, no matter what she does, she's off slow, and then she'll either kind of like she did last time, rush up into the race, or she was able to kind of get into it back in April where the speed was really holding and it was an advantage. Just where's she been since June? She drops in class, back to the dirt. Some big question marks for her to answer today.
And that's why I showed this race in particular, just because she did rush up on a track that was speed favoring that day, and she's a horse that is morning line favorite. David has lukewarm on the line, and I just wonder if she's going to take that money with the drop in class for Linda Rice, turf to dirt, the horses perform. But I don't know. I don't trust this horse at all in here, especially because that win was kind of dressed up with the way the track was playing and got to be inside and got to rush up on the inside. So she's going to take money in here. She wins. She's probably going to do it without me in here. I'll stick with Chocolate Chocolate in this spot, but We'll see, because these horses do sometimes run for Linda, and they surprise you. But boy, she's got a break.
Yeah.
Because if she,
I know.
mean, the one thing that helps her, she's outside, so if she's going to take off, she'll probably have a clear path to take off if she doesn't break again. But this field is certainly a lot tougher in some ways than what she faced and what she beat that day. And again, she's just been gone since June. And obviously, with that race, they're going to try her on the dirt to obviously see if she can run here in the winter, I would think.
We will find out as we go to what we break after 5.
Yeah.
Right, Eddie? All right. Race 5, 6 furlong maiden claiming 35,000. Eddie's on top of things.
I answered that
2-year-old
for Eddie.
fillies.
Eddie got
I
mad
know
at me
you did.
earlier because I did not say hello to him.
I know.
So Eddie,
Eddie
hello.
was a
I hope
little
you had an amazing
offended.
Thanksgiving. I know I was really focused, and knew he was having some issues in there, getting us on the air.
He's used
today.
to Andy yelling at
Yeah.
him. As race 5, we're all over the place in here. There's a lot of horses, kind of similar to what we just talked about in the last
Yeah.
race, trying the dirt. It's that time of year when you'll see a lot of horsemen entering horses that have been running on the turf. Maybe there's a little pedigree. Maybe they started on the dirt. Can they handle it? Do they stick around for the winter, or do you have to find another alternative? Your top pick, Medium Cool. I think there's a lot of interest I've heard in this horse in the drop-in class. What was it that appealed to you?
I think this horse on the drop also will probably show speed from the inside. I think Ruben Silvera aboard, he can be aggressive too. But the dam ran twice on dirt, and a couple of siblings too. You know, they both won on dirt, and Lily Pooh and Double Fantasy as well. So I don't think this horse ran all that bad first time out at Monmouth as well. Last time out just had no shot, got bumped at the break, kind of got shuffled back out of there, and ended up just kind of touring the turf course off that layoff. So I think there's a little bit of pedigree here. I think some speed from the inside in this spot will certainly help this horse well, with possibly the other speed drawn way outside. So maybe this horse can kind of get in front of this group in here with a little bit of pedigree in here. I was hoping to swing a little bit of a price on this horse in here too, because I think you kind of want to go a little price hunting in this spot in here,
Yeah.
especially if you don't trust the horse on the far outside.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of it. And I had a similar thought with Alma's Law, but to me, she's actually, I think in some ways, the horse to beat, because she does have at least good dirt form, which she doesn't really, you don't see much of that in here. I mean,
No.
Clara Vidente has run actually some okay races on the dirt. It's just she was so disappointing last time when coming to the Naira circuit. And then you've got Alma's Law, who ran second first time out, and she did run fourth, 2 back. But to me, she looked like she just never really was able to settle in that race. And with all due respect, you go from Monmouth and pick up Joel Rosario on today. And the barn with Jose Jimenez has actually been having some runners recently. It seems the barn is in a pretty good groove. And I thought going back to the dirt, where she clearly did not run a step against much tougher on the turf last time out, she made some sense going back to the dirt because of her 2 prior dirt races.
Yeah, she was my 5th pick in this spot, and I was just, like I said, kind of hunting around in spots. They weren't the strongest dirt fields. I just wish she ran
No.
better, a little bit better anyway.
There's not much dirt strength
Yeah,
in here. In
no, and
general.
the fields she came out of were not
Yeah.
that great either. So I mean, I guess it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another in that spot for her. So we'll see.
Coralane, who you mentioned, is actually the morning line favorite at 5-2. She's another one. She has never been on the dirt before, and there really isn't much dirt pedigree on the bottom side either. The second dam even was mostly turf, though she won on the dirt, and the sibling was a low-level claiming horse who was over 10. So there's not much really to sink your teeth into there.
No, and the dam's still looking for a first win too. So I kept the horse out of there. I know you have the horse third in there, but it's just, you just never know, because again, it's a Brad Cox runner who's probably going to take money, dropping down in class and being on the dirt. And sometimes, I mentioned this last time too, when you go through the winter, you see like Brad Cox have a lot of these horses that come here, and you got to pay attention, because sometimes they're either busts that take a lot of money and they just never pan out, or sometimes they'll just run off the screen. Like sometimes there's no in between. I find with like Brad Cox runners in the winter. I thought this one might be a little bit of a bust just based on the pedigree. We'll see.
I thought Mary Jolene was a bit interesting. She debuted on the dirt, and she took a lot of money that day, and then moved to the Greg Sacco barn, and she looks like a turf horse, but she ran on the turf against some better company. I thought watching her debut back, she was just totally bewildered throughout the running of that race. So hoping that she's just a slightly better horse now.
Yeah, mentally she might be
Yeah.
in a much better spot than she was. And she got off slowly in that race too. She spotted the field a few, but it's not like she kind of packed it in. There, she still kind of stood within the same amount off. She made a little bit of a run and then kind of backed up a few lanes, but she didn't get beat 20 in that spot. And then she ran against better, and the second dam won sprinting on the dirt, and I can't resist any Greg Sacco horses, as we know. So I have the horse second in this spot in here. I thought the horse had an interesting look.
Well, that's the first 5. Take a quick timeout and come back and kick things off with race 6 in the late pick 4 after this.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, Acacia and Paul, as we have similar picks coming up in this 6th race. Paul, $40,000 claiming race, 7 furlongs for fillies and mares. Let's start off with Marsal, as we have the last replay for her, for Linda Rice, as this is a horse that beat what has turned out to be a pretty live field, with the 2 horses behind her both coming back to win nicely.
Yeah, and Penn Street blew the break in this start too, and still almost got there. But this horse, I thought, ran really well because she was able to get good position and got a terrific ride too. They saved ground with her, and timing was everything with this horse, and just got the job done in here with a really good ride. This was a nice claim for 12-5 for Linda at the end of the day. Came back and won in this spot too. So see if she can run it back with this horse in this spot. I think this horse did everything right last time out.
It's a question. I disagree with the short comment a bit. I mean, I know she had a slight stumble, but it really didn't affect her
it wasn't that bad at all. No.
And she got, like you said, a great ride from Jose Lezcano, who'll be back aboard. I know that she's stepping up, but I find it's usually a good sign when Linda Rice steps horses up in class, especially when they're doing well or maybe have a little bit of questionable form. But I think that the horse you have on top in the 2, Brazina, is very much the horse to beat. Is she second off a layoff, and I thought ran really well last time out and had a nice win before that break.
Yeah, Ruben Silvera gets all the credit too last time out for being aggressive with her too, because she almost got it, being that aggressive as well in that spot. This horse is just in form right now, and the speed didn't come back last time and stuff like that. So for me, I know that this horse again is a horse that's kind of jumping up to 40, but I just thought that they were the 2 right horses for this spot. You've got Brazina, who will probably be out in front of this
especially
group.
with Soundbite scratching.
Yeah, with Soundbite out
even
now.
More so.
Yeah, and Marsal being, not too far off of it. I think those are the 2 that are probably the most trustworthy in this group that you want to have in here, that are the informed now horses.
I always try to make a case for I'm Buzzy.
I know.
She is a horse that is better when being outside, and I think that the rail in her last 2 starts probably wasn't ideal for her, and you could see Joel Rosario kind of took her out 4 wide, and at least she's drawn towards the outside today. So we'll see if she can get around the other 2. But I always try to make a case for her.
Yeah, listen, she always gets her checks and her minor awards. She pays for herself. That's what you got to love with her. And she's always running those seconds and thirds. I kind of feel like, last year she had a solid year. So coming into this year, you're like, all right, she'll run better. And she's running against some tough fields, and she's done well. I mean, horses like Savos Milani and Our Liberty Bell were in form, earlier this year when she was facing them. So in this spot, it's just interesting because she's probably the next horse you'd want if you feel like neither one of those horses are going to show up that we picked up on top. So I listen, I will not be disappointed if she gets that first win today this year.
Always be rooting for her.
Yeah.
Race 7, I thought was an interesting race, and there were a lot of ways you could go. It's 6.5 furlongs, $30,000 claiming race for fillies and mares. I think the conversation probably starts with Max Aluna, and we'll take a look at her last race for Linda Rice. We both have her second, again stepping up in class, but she beat 2 next out winners. She ran very well this day, and she was just best in that spot.
Well, we finally kind of got to see what she could actually be, because if you go back 2 starts, she was wide against that gold rail. She didn't want to load that day. She was just not herself, and she was up against the track.
That's typical for her, though. She can be really obstinate behind the gate.
Stubborn,
She's done that
yeah.
before.
And then the starts before that, the 3 starts back in the mud, I just felt like just wasn't the right. Again, she didn't break well after that, and she just, didn't want to go in. And last time out, finally, we got to see her. She saved ground. She angled out. It was comfortable. A couple others you could argue maybe didn't show up in that race, but still, she ran her race, and she ran well, and she got a decent enough figure for it. So I have her second in here. She could absolutely win in this spot back for Linda.
And it was a good figure, but then Sassy Princess came back with a 75, and Bams Bliskus came back with a 71. So I think they kind of validated it. I think, we both had her in there. As far as Moongate, who you had on top, they've figured out that you have to go to the front with her. She was kind of running off last time, I thought, though.
Yeah, I think so too, in a way, and maybe that kind of made her come back a little bit to the field. But I like this drop in class for her in this spot, especially since she has speed. So maybe she can get in front of this group and just let her roll and let her do her thing and try not to get in her way, because 3 starts back she ran well. When she was able to wide. I feel that she ran into City Blocks and G's Eloise, and they've been running, okay races in good spots. And last time out, 2 Always Practicals, not bad. And there was I'm Buzzy again running second in that spot, too. So I think in this spot, just breaks well. Just let her go to the front on the drop down, and we'll see if we can get her home for Jimmy Ryerson in here.
I thought that she won at Saratoga when horses coming from off the pace were really struggling to make up ground. But that being said, I think her speed in this spot does make her a player.
Yeah.
I had her in there as well. I went to a new face, the number 5 in awe of Juju. I thought she was a little bit interesting coming in for Bruce Levine. Now in Bruce's barn, he has just had her for a short time. She's had 1 work here in New York, but gets blinkers on. And watching her last race at Keeneland, she broke running, and the winner, Golden Irish, kind of opened up early to wire the field, and she was several lengths ahead early. So I feel like the rest of the field kind of ran in place. So I'm curious what the blinkers on will do. It's tough to claim from Kenny McPeak. We talk about that often, but she does have some decent races that would put her in the mix in the go back. I thought she would be a nice price, and I feel like with the blinkers on and with Ricardo Santana aboard, you're going to get an aggressive ride for a horse that's going to be a new face and is not going to be one of the ones that I feel like is going to take a ton of money in this spot.
Yeah, and that we've seen before over and over. She got a good trip 2 back as well in that spot in the mud at Churchill, too. I thought that was a good trip for her. And last time out, that horse that won, it's okay horse for Tom Amoss. Not the greatest in his barn, but he's run well. She's run well for him, I should say. So with the blinkers going on today, yeah, maybe this horse does get a little aggressive ride out there and sits off of the 8 in the spot. We'll find out how they break and how it shakes out.
Yeah, I thought this was a little bit more of a wide open race. As race 8 is a good one, and we'll go there as a 6.5 furlong allowance, and I think in large part because everybody's curious to see what With the Angels can do. Neither of us are trying to beat her. She came back off of an 11-month layoff last time out in an allowance spot, and I think that there were some questions as to maybe, did she have it? Did she move forward? She just was so much the best that day. And I spoke to Linda Rice before this race, and she had actually said that she wanted her to sit off a little bit, which is exactly what she did. She didn't go to the front. So she's been able to show that she can settle, which I think is certainly a feather in her cap as well.
Oh, absolutely. And once she got that open space, she was gone. So and they gave her some grief early around her. It's not like that they didn't. They were race riding a little bit with her around her, but Flavien Prat took her back. Linda wanted her back, and it worked out at the end of the day. I mean, she really delivered to it. She's a cool horse, and she's going to be a player, too, as the winter goes on, as long as she stays sound. It'll be interesting to see, if she runs well today. I think I had read, too, where Linda said, she didn't want to throw her into the deep end of the pool, just yet. But if she wins here today, you start thinking about some stakes races over the winter for her.
Well, an open 2X is not a soft spot to go. I think that she actually ended up with maybe one of the softer fields we might see for this condition.
In this spot, I was going to say, I think, in this spot, I think it's a little light for a horse like her, because I think she can absolutely, now that she sat a little bit off the pace and has done it in 2 spots, it just helps her out immensely depending on how things go early on.
Yeah, she might have gotten a little bit lucky in this race. As The horse that is, I think, one of the biggest head scratchers on the card is Roswell's. We'll take a look
Yeah.
at her win 2 starts back when she was able to run down Senza Parole, who was an incredibly short price that day. I still don't know where this race came from Roswell. I remember interviewing Bill Mott after the race, and he did not really seem to know where it came from either. And I have no confidence that she can do it again. She's run fast races. It's just you never really know if she's going to show up with it.
Yeah, there's no consistency to her, and that's what it. And what's wild is, her best figures have been in defeats too
I
at
know.
times, and then she pops up and she wins a race like
She
she did
usually
two starts
runs
back.
her best figures, I feel like, at Saratoga.
That could
if
be
there's
very
any
possible
sort
too.
of thing you look at,
Yeah.
but even then, I mean, she did not run well 3 back as the favorite in Saratoga.
No, and it's hard. She takes money, and
Mhm.
it's
She
hard to
does.
trust her when she takes money. I have her 4th in here just because I just kind of feel like I don't know what I'm going to get out of her. And I just, at the end of the day, too, I wonder, like, is she going to get the setup that she needs to come running late in this spot? I mean, she
Yeah,
always runs her
that's a good
race,
point.
but is she going to get that setup that she needs to put her over the top in here? And I was just thinking, and to me, maybe I'm wrong. I just kind of feel like watching them run at this point with the Angels has more upside. As just a better horse at the moment because you just don't get that consistency out of Roswell. It's just,
So
it's just,
she
I
does
just-
get the
yeah.
blinkers on. We'll see if that helps her. I moved her up. I actually had all class second and Roswell third, so she got bumped up for me. Twirling Beauty is an interesting conversation because it seems like, at least lately, not on the turf last time, but on the synthetic race and even in her Monmouth win, and even at her debut, she's a jump off and go type of pace
Yes.
horse. So especially with them wanting to settle with the Angels, you'd imagine Twirling Beauty is going to be in front.
Yeah, she's quick and she's fresh, and she'll probably get in front here. And I think that makes her tough today if she can get in front because she's run races that are good enough. Because honestly, her debut that she won, okay, she got a 63, and the race was all right. The field was what you make of it. She came back in a much tougher spot, and she gave way. She kind of got off a little, but it wasn't
She
as
got
bad.
totally
Yeah,
cut
she got cut off
at the
Yeah,
beginning of the race,
you
though.
know,
There, yeah.
So, and then she came back. She ran well there. They shipped her out to run on the Tapeta, and she ran okay there, which I guess made them decide, okay, we're going to run on the turf in the next spot. And, she just wasn't as forward there. She ended up being wide. She couldn't make the top in that spot. She's been laid off since then. She comes back here. She's fresh for Dave Duggan. I just think she's quick in this spot, and if she breaks running, we'll see how good With the Angels are because I think she could be a threat. I still think With the Angels is a better horse, but if Twirling Beauty can get in front and get brave and she's fresh, she might be a little tough.
Yeah, we'll see what the pace does play out there. Wrapping up the card, going a mile. There's a lot of filly races today. This
Yes.
one's for 2-year-old fillies. It's a lot about the girls this afternoon. And this race, let's start the conversation with Baseball Lady. We both have her in there somewhere. I'd actually liked her last time out going a mile. She ran well, actually, as I looked at it, a little bit better than I had initially thought, finishing second that day, stretching out. She has started to kind of rack up the defeats, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but at least the numbers were headed in the right direction every start, and they were kind of moving, for that level up front. They were going pretty quick up there, and she looked like she was completely done, too, going around the turn, and she found another gear to kind of come back and kept on going in the stretch. I mean, I know the winner in that race was really tough to make,
Yes.
based on her prior dirt races, but still, I mean, I thought Baseball Lady, considering the pace and considering she was up on it, I thought she ran okay for that spot. I have her second in here. I just don't trust her, and I don't trust the favorite who you have on top, so I just had a little bit of a different direction that I wanted to take a shot at.
That's
in this
fair.
spot.
I like factory setting a lot in here, actually. She's by McKinsey, and I had written down in her debut that she is big, looks like she wants to go longer. The 6 furlongs was just a starting point for her, and the horse that beat her, for Mike Maker, came back to win those New York bred stakes up at Finger Lakes, and I think it's actually a nice horse. And so I just really thought that she was a horse that was going to improve, getting more distance. Comes in off a little bit of a layoff since August. I guess that could be one bit of the question there, but I've been waiting to see her stretch out.
It's funny, too. I pulled like a nuance stat for Chad Brown in this spot. He's 3 for 15 with a $1.35 ROI, but 10 horses ran in the money with 2-year-old fillies on the dirt, second-time starters going from a sprint to a route.
Okay.
So they do run for him.
Yeah.
They don't win as often, but they do run for him. I just question the distance for me. I know that you had said that he's bigger, framed and probably wants.
She looks like she wants
to
every
go.
bit of a mile.
I just question it based on some of the pedigree, but I have her third in this spot, and it's a Chad Brown.
Even though she's by McKenzie?
You have to, well, I know, but you have to respect her. You have to respect her, and you have to respect the connections in there. I just was going to try and get cute because I think ultimately this horse may end up being a decent favorite in the Spot Factory setting. So I was going to try and take a swing with a couple other horses.
The horse you have on top, I think, makes some sense, though, going back to the main track. She is getting a drop in class, as I know that this is an optional claiming race, but she is a horse that I think could make some sense because she faced, I thought, a very good field 2 starts back on the dirt in maiden special weight company.
Yeah, Believable ran second and attempted coming back and currently came back to win. Even the horse that was third ran fifth at Churchill Downs, but got sucked up in a pace battle in that spot too, so ran well. And I wonder if they were just a little too quick to try the turf because I know there's that Leah influence there, and the dam really didn't have that much success on the turf, really didn't show much. I think this is more of a dirt horse. Now gets to cut back to the mile, draws inside. Kendrick gets aboard, and it's not like this horse wasn't in range early, when this horse ran on the dirt. So I wonder if they'll be a little bit more forward in this spot too, if they break running in this spot. And I thought this was an interesting horse that's probably going to be in the mid-range price range.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 to 1.
Felt the same with the 3 Magic in My Eyes. Quickly, I thought she was really interesting stretching out. This is another one that I had written down. Looks like she wants to go longer, so wanted to give her another chance. She ran very well first time out behind Rena's Revenge, who would go on to try the Frizette. And I guess given how poorly Rena's Revenge ran then going back to New York Bred Stakes Company, there are some questions as to how good that race actually was on debut, as Magic in My Eyes finished second. But again, I thought she was a little bit interesting stretching out, and it was a decent field she ran against last time at least.
Yeah, last time was too. And even in the debut, though, the 4th place finisher's done okay and has come back and ran all right. And one of the siblings, I think, did well longer, too, for Magic in My Eyes as well. So I have the horse 4th in there. It's a cool little race to finish up the card because if you don't believe that the Chad Brown runner can win it, maybe this Chad Brown runner goes off at 8 to 5 in this spot, you'll probably be able to find some value. Someplace
I feel
else
like
in
it
this
could
spot.
be a relative. Maybe people will just kind of default to the Chad Brown horse, but I feel like they're all kind of evenly matched in here.
Yeah, based on paper, there's nobody that jumps out in here that you're like, okay, I'm going to hang my hat on this horse and be like, this is the horse I'm going to use, in pick 5s and pick 4s and single, because I don't see that happening. Or even pick 6s.
A fun way to wrap up the card, as that'll do it for us. And as always, don't forget to sign up at Naira Bets. You can play all of the action over there. Get your $200 deposit match bonus. Use promo code BONUS200 to sign up at NairaBets.com or download the app today. Aqueduct Saturday contests in play as well. $300 buy-in, cash and seat prizes. Registration accepted up to post time. And we have the 5K hit and split. Hit the late pick 5 at Aqueduct, split $5,000. Nothing wrong with that. Be sure to opt in at Naira Bets. Also opt in if you're playing Churchill Downs. 10x rewards points on any race on the Churchill Downs card. Del Mar, if you're playing there too, 10% exacta bonuses. Opt in for all of these good promos over at Naira Bets. And then finally, America's Day at the Races, kicking off at 12 on FS1, FS2 from 3 to 4:30. You'll be on the late show?
With you, yeah.
That's right.
You and I.
I'm reporting early, and then Paul and I will be on the desk together to wrap up.
So we'll give you a chance
card.
to warm up later.
Yes, I know. Got to get some layers. I got the hair up today, though, so I won't be eating my hair in the wind. So I'm ready. Paul, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us and watching Talking Horses today. Chris Griffin standing by with a reprise of Scratches and Changes. Good luck today, everyone.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Aqueduct. At this time, we ask you please rise, remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the New York Racing Association and live racing right here at Aqueduct. Friday afternoon, 9 races on today's card. The main track is fast. Coming up, today's scratches and changes on this Friday to kick off the weekend here at Aqueduct. Race 1, start of the early pick 5. Race 1, scratch the 6, Spotted Bull. Scratch the 6 in race 1. Today's second race, no show, trifecta superfecta wagering. Start of the early pick 4, race 2. Scratch the 2, Desperate Proposal. Scratch the 6, Fever Night. Race 3, start of a mandatory pay pick 5. Today's third, scratch the 5, Whistler Style. Scratch the 5 in race 3. Race 4, start of the pick 6 is clear. No changes in today's fourth race. Race 5, start of the late pick 5. Scratch the 4, Lucky Lucky Me. Scratch the 4 in today's fifth race. Race 6, scratch the 1, Soundbite. Scratch the 1, Soundbite in race 6. Race 7, scratch the 1, Bourbon Serengeti. Scratch the 1, Bourbon Serengeti in race 7. Race 8, scratch the 6, All Class. Scratch the 6 in today's 8th race. And race 9, no changes. No changes in today's 9th race. Main track is fast, 9 races on today's card. It's a Friday afternoon. Early pick 5 is coming up, race number 1. 6 furlongs is the distance, scratch the 6. Race 1, the early pick 5. 9 races on a Friday, right here at Aqueduct, and it's next. Good luck.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.